Hello wine swingers, welcome to another wine swinging session. Today we're gonna compare two Merlot wines. And probably the most classic head-to-head comparison would be a Merlot from Bordeaux region of France and Merlot from Napa Valley of California. But that would be boring. So we decided to do something different. We thought, why not compare something from California with Merlot from Italy? By the way, did you know Italy makes very good Merlot, and some of those are really amazing and very, very expensive. So let's start with, and that's how we tasted these wines. Let's start first with the Italian bottle. So this one called Avignonesi Desiderio from a Toscana region of Italy. And what's interesting about Avignonesi label, it's an old Italian family, Avignonesi, and the story goes like this. Back in 1307, Clement V, the Pope at that time, had to move the papal capital from Rome to Avignon in France. And then in 1377, Gregory IX, another Pope, moved it back to Italy. And along with him came some noble families from Avignon. So they probably had a complicated foreign name for Italy, so they decided to Italize it. So that's how it became Avignonesi. And so they've been growing grapes there for a long time. But what's interesting about this estate, in 1974, the Falvo brothers from Cortona region, which is also in Toscana, took over the estate and invested a lot of money into development, and hence this new label. So now this is a highly respected producer from Italy, and this one is among those wines that we can call super Tuscans. Heard of those? And when it's a super Tuscan, it also commands a pretty high price. So this bottle actually goes for $60. So what's good about this? Actually, in the place where it grows, the climate is really good for this kind of a grape, so it gets to ripe really well, but it also has its Italian flair. So when we're gonna start comparing them side by side, and gonna go a little bit more in details on the flavor and the nose profile. Now let's have a few words about Duckhorn. So if you drink wine from California, if you like wine from California, probably at some point you have tasted some wines that are produced by Duckhorn family. So they settled there they started the winery in 1974, and it was a couple of it's a couple with the last name Duckhorn, and basically in 1978 they had their first vintage, and ever since it's a history. This winery actually topped the Wine Enthusiast as a top winery in the world 8 times already. And actually a 2014 wine from this winery was a top wine on the Wine Enthusiast list with 100 points in 2017. So what we're gonna have today is a Duckhorn Vineyard Merlot of 2017 vintage, and this one retails at around $50 to $55. So they are comparative in price, and that's why we thought it would be nice to compare these two. And also, if you think of it, they both were founded really around the same time, so 1976, 1974. So let's give them a try, and let's find out which one we like better. So when you look at the colors of both of those, I could say that the color is a little bit more intense on California wine and a little bit less so on Avignonesi. And what's interesting, because it has some time under its belt, so 2014, about 6 years by now, it has a little brick hint in it, so it's a little bit lighter. And just to let you know, if you don't know this already, with age, the red wine gets lighter. So let's start with Italian wine. And right away, what you can say when we poured it, the intensity on this wine was a little bit higher than on California, which was a surprise. We expected that to be California wine to be a little bit more pronounced on the nose. And what we get here is you get a lot of herbs, and you get like a red plum and some tar, and it's really complex aromas that you get from Italian wine. And on the palate, it's a medium plus, medium to medium plus body, with good acidity and medium tannins. And also it continues the same profile that I described before, so all those red plum, tar, herbs make for very complex flavor, and add some a little bit cedar notes, so showing a little bit treatment with wood. So when we switch to Duckhorn, immediately what you can say, it's really jammy, and it's a caramel like on the nose, and you get more of a dark fruit. So here you get more like a blackberry, you get more of a black plum, and you get really strong chocolate note. So it's definitely a different style of wine. So when we're tasting it, I could say that it's a little bit more budget, but it's still at medium plus. I would say a little bit less tannins than in the previous wine, but just tiny bit, and a little bit less acidity. So once again, it's probably showing a little bit warmer climate that comes from Napa Valley. But overall, on the palate, you also get those dark berries, and it's a very balanced and silky and rounded wine. So if you're in the mood for the comparison of two different Merlots, this is really good couple. Why? Because they're comparable in price, they're both among the top producers for its region, and they're different. So you might want to go with something like a lamb roast, or something lighter fare with Avignonesi. And then when you go to Duckhorn, you probably want to go towards filet mignon, steak, New York steak, things like that. So overall, those are two beautiful wines. If you get a chance to try them, you're gonna enjoy them. And we're waiting to see you again with us for more objective and non-sponsored reviews. Thank you. Keep wine swinging with us.